and hello, welcome. This is Liliana, and this is the Happiness Delivered, a podcast about knitting and making. I'm your host, and I'm coming to you from Orlando-ish, Florida, and today's the day where I catch up on the long-awaited podcast number 2. I guess first things first, I know we kind of, I can't even say historically because the history of one episode. But what I'll typically do is kind of discuss what I'm working on, what I'm planning to make next, future plans type stuff, anything I've acquired along the way, and any more or less knitting fiber related stuff. So I'd say buckle up, it's going to be a bumper episode, but as we covered before, knitting gets on the back burner quite a bit more often than I care to admit, but you know how it goes. Life gets in the way. So I'll kind of stick to what I've been working on and show any progress so far. And I will say not a lot to be impressed by today because my head's been in a space and it's been hard to get it out of that space and back into the land of the living. So I'm sure you guys know how that life kind of sends you on these little like reflective journeys every now and then, and you're just kind of like, first you're lost in it, and then you're like, realization, awareness, all that great stuff, but also not planned, and no direction, and a lot of confusion. So yeah, it's been hard to focus on knitting. I don't know, maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have just been like, I'm gonna knit myself through my feelings, but I didn't. So here we are in a episode, I want to say it's not quite a month. I did it before a month's time, so a little over 2 weeks ago that we last caught up. So I guess I'll catch you up on what I have worked on since then, and we'll talk about some new things that came up. So I'm just going to pick whatever I've got handy at the moment. So last time I talked to you about these mittens, and I had said, I can't find the other one. Well, I found it, fortunately, but I'm going to finish this thumb. I'm going to finish it today. In fact, I'm going to finish it right after I wrap this podcast, and that will be what I post today on my social, because it's been a long time. And apologies. I will apologize. And it's not something I plan to do often because life happens and we spend a lot of time apologizing for shit. So not really an apology. Not that I owe you an apology necessarily, but basically my daughter's home and I can tell she's having quite the dance party downstairs. And so if you hear that, just know somebody's having a great life downstairs. But anyhow, so these mittens, still where they were, missing a thumb, as you can see. Just the tip is missing. Just the tip. Who's 12? Me. I'm 12. But yeah, so it's almost like I have made his and her mittens, except it's a you see the size difference? I'll try and put it here. Like, they look alright, but this one's definitely bigger. And at this point, all I can hope is that I'll get the thumbs to be the same size. And maybe if I block the second mitten aggressively, it'll match the size of the first, because I assure you, I washed it and dried it, the first mitten, and it didn't really shrink. So I guess that's what I expect. Superwash is not, it's the whole point. But yeah, so now we can see both of them, and we're nearly there. And I couldn't remember last time, and I still can't remember who the stitch marker is, but I'm going to find out because I want to. I want to know just like you do. Okay, tell you. Let's see. Did I get it on Etsy? This is the kind of stuff I should edit out, so. Note to self. Remember this for later. Okay, so that's where that is. And I covered the bag last time, Lydia Cheney bags on Etsy. I like this one because it has the lucky cats. And the yarn is my own hand dyed. So that, honestly, I need to finish that. I don't want it to show up on the next podcast unless it's done. And even then, I'd rather just have a picture of it and be able to say, that item has now been delivered to its recipient. So, fingers crossed. That's the story for next time. So, I'll show this, but I don't have much of any kind of way to say, to say where the progress is, because I never measured it, and that's probably what's kept me from knitting on it, is because I don't want to go too long and then be in a position of having to pull back. Well, you know how that goes. You go in autopilot and suddenly, you know, you're like, oh, I was doing so well. Yeah, well, good luck. You knit 12 or 24 more rows than you needed to, and now that is all wasted. So I just need to measure this and see where I'm at and see if I'm ready to begin, you know, finishing it back up. So, and hopefully you can see decently enough. I'm filming on my GoPro today as opposed to my phone, which I did last time. So obviously, now that you know that there's something different, if you detect a difference and you like it or you don't like it, let me know, because nothing's set in stone here, and if it isn't working, I'll change it and fix it and adjust for next time. But this is the Wrap Me Up Sweater Scarf. It is by Knitatude, and I'm enjoying it. It's just that it's the simpler of the two. I had wanted to cast on, well, I really loved the Wrap Me Up in Cables version of this, but I know that if I started knitting something that had an all over cable, that was going to be the bane of my existence, because it wouldn't be as easy. I'd be more prone to put it down. And so I've done the opposite and now have ended up at the same place where, oh, it's just so simple, and sometimes I just want a little bit more, but not too much more. So yeah, proving once and for all that I cannot be pleased. I have not been working on that as much as I would like. All right. I really only have 3 things that I'd consider active. Nope, I lie. There's one more. But one of the things that I had been kind of putting off because I had to change colors and, you know, needed maximum concentration for, is my Jody shawl, which is knit up in this kind of Witcher colorway, Witcher inspired colorway collection that I'm working on, though I mean inspiration's striking left and right now, so like the Witcher has kind of taken a little bit of the back burner of my focus, but so I did finally incorporate the new color and have gotten a few more rows of that, and I think I'm pretty good to either, I don't know if I have one more round of the original main first color, or if I'm ready to just take it from here in the second colorway. But so here's what we're looking at, and here's how that color's playing out, and I'm digging it. I can't complain. I'm liking it. I mean, I'm not sure what my third color will be, if I'm going to go darker and finish like maybe with a completely totally black, or if I'm going to pick a lighter color and see. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird like that, where some things kind of feel heavier if they're darker, whereas they feel kind of light and airy when they're a lighter color, but at the same time, at the very end of a shawl, like, I know there's going to be lace. I want to be able to see it. So I'm thinking I might just dye up like a lighter solid gray and kind of go with that. I'll look through the Ravelry and see if I find ones that have a similar, not color distribution, but like, hey, if you started with a speckle or if you started with a tonal or variegated, how'd you end up? Where did you put your color? You know, how does the lace look? You know, how am I going to feel if the color just sticks out a lot, right? Because at this point, like, I feel like it needs to go solid black to be able to like marry it all together. But yeah, overall I'm super happy with it. It's definitely the kind of thing I can pick up and put down with ease. It's just that I haven't picked it up. Headspace, you know, that kind of stuff. So back in the bag for now, back in the bag. And just to kind of show you that color, this is where it's at. I showed it last time, so it's not like, yeah, well, you may not have seen it if this is your first time here, but yeah, so this is a work in progress, and it's housed in my knitting bag, which is a souvenir from my sister's trip to England. So no, you missed the days when I was gripping on it. No, you're in a house and I just, my speakers decided to just serenade y'all. So sorry. That's what happens when you have too many things on your desk. Not that that's the case for me, clearly. I'm very organized. Neat. So neat. So many lies there. Okay, so yeah, those are the three main things that I have been kind of working on. Oh, I'll show you the things that I have started but haven't worked on. I'm sure you guys have that, right? It's not just me. Okay, so, oops, sorry, that's probably not the best angle. It's either bumping into the camera or I'm leaning away. So this is a hot mess that I haven't looked at in several weeks, so. Making sense of this. In the middle of the road. The middle of the road, because who doesn't like to live dangerously? Okay. So this is my summer sorrel, which I nearly dyed, you know, doing the I-cord cast on. And this one, haha, wait for it, it's not my hand-dyed yarn. So this is Riverside Studio, in the color, I think this is the color Fen. Yeah, that sounds right. But now I have to go and either have to, I've done one row after the cast on, and either my head wasn't in the game or I can't read properly. Anything's possible here. I am definitely not laying blame on anybody. But so even in just looking at it, I'm like, oh, what's that? Why do I have that? That looks like a mistake. So yeah, I am gonna have to take a looky look and see what's happening there, because this is that's color 1, as you can see, so much to show. So this is color 1. Oh yeah, I tinked back, so lots of yarn to ball back around here. That's why it's getting all messy. Okay, so this is ball 1, color 2, and color 3. And let me put them in the order of appearance that they'll have. So, like I said, Riverside Studio in Fen, Parcel Fiber Co in Verdigris, and this is on the 75-25 base. So this is all 75-25. Figured I'd keep it consistent, and this is the precursor to this, which I hope to revisit, because I don't currently dye this one. This was kind of like a one-off beta, if you will. But yeah, so here it is, looking very pretty, but me struggling to move on as per usual. Oh yeah, let's just put them all together using one hand, because what could happen? What could go wrong there? Nothing. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Anyways, so yeah, so that's that. I wish I could say I'm going to pick it up again, but I will pick it up again. I just don't know if I'm going to pick it up again before our next podcast. But the goal is definitely finish the mittens and proceed to make more progress on the Jody shawl. Big things that I'm focused on. And I don't think, I know, actually that's it, because I haven't cast on the, I haven't cast on the love note. The best I have is the swatch that I made for it, and that hasn't really gone very far. So I guess in the interest of your time, I'll kind of move forward to showing you some of the things I have acquired recently. And the main one is about a trip that we went on to a local alpaca farm, and it's called Luna Sea Farms, and they have alpacas, they have Surrey, they have what's it called, Huacaya, and so it was great. They take appointments for tours, and so we made an appointment and we drove out that way, husband on his motorcycle and me and my daughter in the Jeep, you know, for a day trip, if you will. And these guys couldn't have been more awesome, more amazing. Like, honestly, as a small business, you know, kind of being put in touch with another small business that's in a related field, you know, my mind just can't help but go and think of all, like, the possibilities, the, you know, relationships, you know, working together, like, working with them. Like, it's very much what comes to my mind when I meet somebody that's in the space or has a similar interest or passion for the things I'm interested in, passionate in. So I guess that's the point, right? If you're in a space and you're not feeling energized by it, then maybe it's not the space for you. But I digress. Not the case. I had such a great time. I will try to insert photos from the alpaca farm here, and show you guys all the cuties, because they were some babies. They were babies, and they were so soft. So you can't go to an alpaca farm and not get a souvenir. So my alpaca is currently in the yard grazing, and I can't wait to show her. Okay, no, just kidding. I'm manifesting an alpaca in my life. Make it a cute one, please. Little one. No, I ended up picking up some yarn, because they have yarn in the shop, and it's all yarn, you know, it's sent out and milled, but it's predominantly, you know, fiber from their own alpacas. And in this case, the one I picked up was a blend, and holy sweet goodness, this is like very delicious. And gosh, I'm wearing black today, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but so maybe if I get all three together. So I picked up 3 skeins of this kind of tweedy. It looks like it's like a dark chocolate or black alpaca, right? And it has oops, don't run away from me. Don't run. We like it here. So yeah, so it has little neps or little fiber, I don't know where they came into mine. It's like trash, but it didn't, you know, leftover little pieces of yarn and stuff that are blended in here. And so, like, there's little oranges, greens, and purples. And so I just thought that would be just the right neutral to, like, make a nice cowl or make a poncho. Like, it's very warm, so it's not like I'll get a lot of heavy use out of it here. But now, now the struggle begins, because it's hard to find a pattern that's made for yarn that is not widely available. So this yarn in particular is a blend of Suri, Huacaya, Merino, and silk. It feels dense and heavy. It's soft as nobody's business. And it's a 2-ply, so it's like a DK weight, and I have 3 skeins, so that's about 600 yards. So I can make a decent little neck item. I could always go back for 2 more skeins and make a sweater that I'll never be able to wear because it's always hot. So that's a possibility. But yeah, so that's the happenings. I mean, I wish I had more to add. It's just June's a busy month, and there's at any given time so many things I'm forgetting. But this month in particular is a birthday month for me, so I had a birthday, and we went out and explored, and yeah, it's been good. It's just been a lot, and so I'm still mentally processing my life. But for the most part, I'm going to be focusing on getting myself ready for, future travel plans, knitting related, fiber related travel plans. Obviously Rhinebeck is in the near distant. Is it near or is it distant? It feels like it's nearer than I'm ready for, because I haven't got a sweater going and I'm slow. But yeah, it seems like it's right around the corner, and I'll need to start looking and making plans to buy tickets to different things and plan my trip, and who will I see? Is it going to be different this year than last year? Because last year I went completely by myself, and while it was good, I think it's better together, right? And so I'm looking forward to that. In other happenings in the month of June, not sure if you guys have, if anyone is here who also enjoys, space, and, I'm gonna call it space because it's more than space. But if you guys have known, or if you know at all, that, there's something going on from a planetary alignment, that in June you're going to be able to see like a lot of the planets in the sky. Hey, shocker, I'm back. And yeah, I probably could have just wrapped it up neatly. Yesterday's interruption when my GoPro ran out of juice. But I wanted to come back and finish my point. So I'll probably edit the last ending just a tad to clarify, because I got kind of cut off mid-sentence. But yeah, so in short, because I did kind of replay it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just sound like somebody who's trying to explain something that's kind of woo-woo without being woo-woo. And let me try and do it some justice today. So what I was trying to say when I couldn't find my words is that in June, and I think it peaks, so like you still should be able to see it tomorrow. It's just the timing has changed because it's the universe, planets, things move. What you saw in the sky at 1 a.m. today is not going to be what you see in the sky at 1 a.m. tomorrow. Like, you get it. Don't make me explain science. I can barely explain math. I can barely explain myself. So let's just keep it high level. Yeah, so basically I went outside one day and I was looking at, I don't know, I've been looking at the stars and I've been looking at the sky, and I've just been stargazing, and now I want an expensive microscope. I will definitely not be seeing stars if I get a microscope. unless there's mushrooms. But anyhow, so the point here is that a telescope. I would like a telescope so I can just gaze up. But I don't necessarily live in a really remote part of town. I mean, there's still a lot of light pollution, but I was able to capture a lot of good photos just with my phone. And that was just like, oh, if this is my phone, what would it be like? What would it be like with a real telescope? I'm always going to get the words switched around, so hopefully you can autocorrect in your brain what I mean, okay? So yeah, so I was out there and I was like, oh, what's this? You know, what's that? And I'm like, I got another app on my phone, and it's called, I want to say it's called Sky something. NightSky, okay? It's called NightSky, and like it does augmented reality and, you know, obviously really nicely digitized, besides having like the star map. So when you point it at the sky, you know, you see all the stars and it tells you which ones they are, the constellations, the name. It also adds like graphic images. So like, let's just say you're looking at the one that I've seen quite a bit the last few days is Ursa Minor. And like, I think that's kind of looks like a bear with a tail. Like that's how it's kind of depicted. It looks, it may not be a bear. It could be some other creature that is a real name, but to me, a bear with a tail, big tail, you know, like a dog, like a big fluffy golden retriever, like I don't know how else to name it. But anyhow, so stuff like that. And then, but it was really the planets that got it for me, because when you're looking at the sky so consistently and you can see the differences, right? And when you're comparing it to an app and you can say, okay, well, the app shows me the whole universe, right? So if I aim up above the horizon, I see the night sky and I see stars, right? But if I aim below the horizon, it doesn't matter where I am, right? Like inside, outside, I'll see what's coming. So like it would be literally like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. No, I'd be up there looking at the sky. You know, I should be tired, but no, I'm very energized. You can clearly tell. Talking about it is exciting. Yes. That's good. But so yeah, now I could see like Jupiter and, you know, the moon and Saturn, and then I'd be like, oh well, Mars is coming up. If I just stay up for another hour, I'll be able to get Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Like obsessed. Like no, I don't have a science brain. I have a creative brain, but apparently now I have an interconnected brain, and it likes to explore all kinds of stuff. So that's the mindset I have now. Growth, expansion, and exploring the things that interest me. And right now, the sky is doing it, because the sky's lit. Anyhow, so huge tangent away from knitting, which is why we save this for the end. We know that like we like our knitting, and that's usually why we seek out the podcasts. But what I find for myself is it's the humanity behind it that keeps me going and keeps me interested in the podcast. You know, everybody's making something. Everybody has preferences about yarn, you know, whatever their resources are, you know, whatever their reasons are for picking what they pick and doing what they do, you know, that's going to be unique to everybody. But it's the other stuff about them as people, right, that is the most appealing to me. Weird. Maybe? Normal? The way it should be? I don't know. Let's reflect on that. But anyways, I will say this just because I came back and I continued filming. I did manage to grab the project that I didn't have yesterday that's also in progress, and so I'll show that to you now. Bonus! Whip, whip! Let me be weird. That's all I got. That's all I got in this life. More weirdness. All right, so you saw this color yesterday. It was in the sorrel, one of the sorrel ones, the precursor color to verdigris. And so I had dyed up two of 2 in fingering and 2 in worsted, and I decided that I'm going to use these 2 worsted ones to make a bit of it's a cowl. It's going to be like long. I don't know if it'll be long enough to wrap twice. It might. It might not. I more or less used the stitch count. Here, let me get closer because, you know, I thought I was getting too close yesterday, but then I realized that I was still far. This GoPro depth perception is way different than the phone. In fact, yeah, the phone is, for all its new features, it has weird behaviors when autofocusing. You know, I'm sure you know if you have an iPhone. But anyhow, so yeah, I'm making this cowl, and I should have weighed how much yarn it took to do the cast on and the ribbing, because that would have been my natural, like, all right, let me weigh my ball. How much do I have left? Okay, ready to start the ribbing to finish it off. But as it is now, if I run out of yarn, I'll have an opportunity to add another color and keep it interesting, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, so this is this. This is in the Tanny Casey bag. Tanny Casey. Oh man, does that lady have great bags. I picked this one up at Cakepalooza, and I don't know, I probably said it in about 3 podcasts that never aired, that these colors would make a great palette, like a whole collection, like inspired by this color palette. Great. It fits my life. It fits my life. Anyways, so guys, that's it. That concludes the mission today. Thank you for journeying with me into deep space and other tangents. If you are enjoying the podcast, you know what to do. At the end of the day, you can enjoy something and not like it, not subscribe, and not share, and that's perfectly fine. For myself, I consume a lot of knitting podcast content, but you probably never saw me post and never saw me comment and like, because 99% of the time I am consuming that content in my car while driving somewhere, and that's not the time for leaving my saucy comments back to things that I see. But among the things that I always want to comment on is the guys from Needle at the Ready. Like, every time he goes, 9-inch circular, I'm just like, the 12-year-old boy in me identifies with you, and I laugh. But yeah, so that's just me. I'll try and try and share some of the other folks that bring me joy. There's so many of you guys that kind of make me feel zen, so appreciate that. And hopefully, if you guys haven't found some good podcasters and I'm your first, it doesn't put you off from finding others, and also that the algorithm brings you some of the folks that I like, so that you can continue to expand your community of knitters and crocheters, yeah, keep it connected. All right, with that, guys, I'll stop my long, laborious goodbye and let you go, and hopefully I'll see you again real soon. Bye. Button.